Hey, welcome everybody. And today we discuss small business market predictions. Welcome to Crypto Kid TV. Let's first check out the financial markets today, which is Monday, February 24th, 2025. Friday is the last day of the week, month, of course, but let's make sure. I might be off for all I know. This might be leap year. For all I know, this could be leap year. No, I was right. Normal year. So let's check out those financial markets. Let's first check out Bitcoin. Bitcoin is up $768 to the price of $92,294. So Bitcoin had dropped close to 90,000, and that's why we're discussing small business market future predictions, is because now that Kelly Loeffler has been confirmed as director of the Small Business Administration, and she is a very successful businesswoman and a strong supporter and proponent of President Trump, that I believe that some of this wasteful spending that Doge is finding is going to be redirected towards small business grants, as well as government-backed loans. So that's what I believe. I believe a lot of this money for that Doge is finding, they first found $55 million in wasteful spending at the USAID. They've clawed back $80 million from FEMA, and FEMA sent this money to the city of New York to fund housing of illegal aliens at the prestigious Roosevelt Hotel. And FEMA is disaster relief, and they diverted the money that should have been allocated to North Carolina, and they sent the money to house illegal immigrants in one of the country's most historic and luxury hotels, the Roosevelt Hotel. And in that process, they processed 170,000 plus illegal aliens and gave them housing, set them up with welfare, stimulus checks, money, everything you need, while you and I are struggling and clawing and also paying for it. And our FICO scores are in the toilet, but these illegal immigrants are living off of our dime, and the Democrats somehow become indignant and feel that that is a sword to die on. I just don't get the reasoning how the fake news media, CNN, and the Democratic Party could be outraged to find such wasteful spending. But as I've been telling you guys for more than 5 weeks, the reality is that one of the fears that Benjamin Franklin had about our government, and why it took them so long deliberating on the American Constitution, is that all the men that were creating the American Constitution were wealthy land property owners. And the concern was, since they led the rebellion against the king, that what they would actually do is from then on retain power and become an aristocracy or an oligarchy of wealthy property men, many slaveholders, and that in essence, that they would subjugate the people the way they felt the king subjugated them. And so they were trying to put in all these precautions to protect Congress from doing what it has done. And what Congress has done has created these bureaucracies that were not included. No, that is not what Congress has done. Let me clean that up. Yes, both Congress and specific presidents, but mostly Congress, has written in to the Constitution an amendment creating the Bureau of Internal Revenue, which collects federal income taxes. And initially, when it was done in 1880, it was to repay the debt from the Civil War. And at that time, that is the reason why they made the amendment of birthright citizenship. And it was because to protect the slaves who were considered 3/5 of a human, and they and their children had no really legal status that was protected under the American Constitution. So that's why they did it. They did not do it to have people from Mexico and other countries fly here when a woman is 6 to 7 months pregnant, stay beyond the agreed upon stay, and then have their child in this country, thereby gaining their children U.S. citizenship, and then guaranteeing that they could have a legitimate reason to re-enter the country because their child was an American citizen. That was not why the birthright citizenship part of the American Constitution was amended. It was to protect slaves and their children who had no voting rights, who were not even recognized under the American Constitution. And so, given that, now we're here, and what we found is that the Democrats and many members, Republican members of Congress, have colluded and got together to create these nonprofit 501(c)s to enrich themselves by saying, hey, we're going to feed people in different countries. And then the Congress members allocate that money, and then you have citizens in these nonprofits lobby, or for-profit companies lobby, get this money, and then they kick it back to untraceable accounts. At the same time, they allow their family and friends from college, fraternity, sorority friends, write in six-figure salaries. And then whether it's FEMA, Department of Homeland Security, Department of Education, IRS, these people all have six-figure salaries, and they're not showing up to work. There's no accountability. Even the judges act politically and make their decisions based upon politics and not sound judgment and reason. So their judgments now are politically motivated, which is a great thing because those are means written into the Constitution to remove judges. So if a judge is not acting with good behavior, on good behavior, then you can remove them. You can just fire them. You don't need to impeach them and all that stuff. The impeachment process is way too long. If you have a corrupt judge who's accepting money and doing a lot of federal and state crimes, you don't need to impeach them. You just indict them, and that's how you deal with them. So given that, my prediction is that finally we have Howard Lutnick as Secretary of Commerce. We have Kelly Loeffler, Director of Small Business Association, in there, that they could at least start working with some policies with the money man, Donald Trump, who's a successful businessman. And that is one of the cries, is that the president is a very successful businessman. And they would prefer, because that's what they historically had. Most of the presidents of the United States have been lawyers or generals. So that's pretty much all they know. So if somebody is a businessman, it says a general doesn't know how to run an economy, and neither do politicians. They specialize in political rhetoric and false promises that they don't keep. They don't know how to balance a budget and economy. They don't know how to interpret profit and loss statements. So now you got a person, Donald Trump, who's hired a bunch of geniuses, that being Doge, letting Elon Musk to run this team of geniuses to find all this waste, abuse, fraud, and corruption. And now the Democrats are enraged, which makes you question. The only reason why they would be enraged is because they are part of the scheme, and they call it Ponzi scheme and all of that. Then they didn't try to tell Biden it was wrong to do stimulus checks. None of that. Now, Doge and Donald Trump are saying, hey, we'll give every taxpayer $5,000 back at one time. They're outraged when people were getting stimulus checks for months, for 18 months. Illegal immigrants were getting money. Matter of fact, they were getting more money than U.S. citizens. So all of this stuff is coming to light. My bet is that this current week is just going to be Kelly Loeffler getting adjusted to her new office. And then next week, she'll really begin to settle down in her new office and begin implementing policy. But this week is just getting used to her new office, her new employees, meeting with President Trump, reaffirming whatever his agenda is, and meeting with other people of the president's economic council to figure out what role the Small Business Association is going to play in stimulating the American economy. But I'm going to tell you right now, nothing is going to happen until at least July, and that's because it would be unwise for Donald Trump to do anything until he's done a full audit of all these agencies. And with that, certain judges of the inferior courts are going to put roadblocks and delay that. And it's going to push a lot of these court cases that Trump is going to win all of these court cases, but they're going to get pushed out. And some of the things he'd like to do, he's not going to be able to implement until around May or June. So you're not going to even see any kind of impact until July or August. And at that time, everybody's on vacation having a good time. So with that, this is the Crypto Kid letting you know, look, the markets are going to be on a lull for another 4 to 6 weeks. So don't expect a lot to happen. Doge really has to keep digging and finding all of this fraud, waste, and abuse. And judges, corrupt judges, which will be removed, they will be removed once they put up these injunctions and roadblocks because they're acting out of bad behavior. Their job is not to act out political positions of whoever they voted for their side. They're supposed to act with sound judgment. That's one of the pledges and oaths that you take as a judge that many of these judges, Democrats, have just totally forgotten. So with that, we're out of here. We'll be back tomorrow. And remember, the future is crypto. Remember.